What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome back to another video here on Pig City Hockey. Now, this is going to be part 2 of our lineup predictions video going into the 2021-2022 season for the Winnipeg Jets. In the first part, we focused on all 4 of the offensive lines and what I expect them to look like, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the defense, the pairings, who I expect to see jump in as a prospect, and also where the new faces in Brendan Dillon and Nate Schmidt are going to find their home. Now, with all that being said, make sure to subscribe regardless of the team that you root for. I'm a biased Jets fan who loves sharing his thoughts on all things hockey related, and any support you give the channel is always greatly appreciated. With all that being said as well, go check out the description, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and also check out all the other affiliated links like the Prairie Puck podcast and whatnot. So with all that being said, I really want to jump into this because this is the most improved part of the Jets as a team, as I said in the intro. So I think this is going to be a very fun, interesting, exciting season with all these new faces and the way that this team is going to mesh together, because we no longer have mediocre defensemen trying to be top 4 guys. We actually have a legit top 4 defense now with capable NHL defensemen that deserve to play up there, that can handle that workload, and it's going to be a very exciting season. So with all that being said, let's jump in and talk about the first pairing. Now, for the first pairing, I decided to go with Brendan Dillon and Neil Pionk. Now, the reason why I chose this to be the first pairing is quite simple. Last year, in my opinion, even though Derek Forbort at the tail end of the season really wasn't that good for us anymore, the pairing of Pionk and Forbort was pretty damn good for us for a latter part of the season. Now, obviously, like I said, it did start to drop off at the end of the season, mostly just because of Derek Forbort's play, not being able to keep up with a guy like Pionk anymore, and you can honestly expect that because Forbort, in my opinion, was a great signing at $1 million at 1 year, but I really wanted to see him more as a depth option, and he just wasn't used that way ever. The only staple that we had in our lineup last year, I feel like minus Connor Hellebuck as our starter, was Forbort playing with Pionk. I feel like that was the only pairing that barely got broken up throughout the entire year, if one game. So I think it's very important to use Pionk's strength as an offensive defenseman and pair him with a reliable two-way guy in Dillon. Now, if you compare Dillon and Schmidt, they are both two-way defenders, but Dillon is the better defenseman, and I think since Pionk already has so much offense, pairing him with a good, reliable two-way defender so that Pionk can focus on the offense, help out with the rush, and just move the puck better with the forwards, not having to worry about the responsibility of his own end, can really benefit this team in the offense and the flow of the game. So I think that would be a really good first pairing to go with Brendan Dillon and Neil Pionk. Now, obviously, there is a lot of variations that you could go with this top 4. You could really play any of these guys anywhere, and I think that's the beauty of how Kevin Cheveldayoff has acquired the defenseman he chose to pick up and how he's going to assemble the lineup with coordination with Paul Maurice. Every single one of these top 4 defenders that we have now with Neil Pionk, Josh Morrissey, Nate Schmidt, and obviously Brendan Dillon is huge because all those guys are responsible. Now, think of whatever you want with Josh Morrissey. He is still a capable defenseman that needed desperate help, and now that he has that help, I really expect to see his play go up, and I think it could be a really, really good fit to have him play on that second pairing away from the spotlight, which takes me into the second pairing of Brendan Dillon, of Nate Schmidt and Josh Morrissey. And like I was saying, I think that this pairing would be a really good fit for Josh Morrissey. He has had so much responsibilities on his shoulder the last couple of years, being the only real capable Jets defenseman minus Pionk, and having to really carry that workload of being the only remaining top 4 member of that defense that was there on the Western Conference final run. Trouba, Buff, Myers, they're gone, and he was the only guy for the last couple of years, and now he has a ton of help. And Nate Schmidt, as well, is coming off of a down year with a team he had no chemistry with and needs a rebound. So giving these guys a second pairing to really let them adjust out of the spotlight of being the top guys could really help benefit their game, and the beauty of it is that you can really swap the first and second pairings at any time based off matchup, and I think you could have tremendous success based off of just the fact that both of those pairings have offense, good two-way defense, and can move the puck well. Obviously, Nate Schmidt's a better puck mover than what Josh Morrissey is, and same with Neil Pionk with Brendan Dillon, but any one of those guys is capable of playing in that role of being a number 1 to 4 defenseman, and I think is a really good fit for this team and trying to win the Stanley Cup, which is obviously the goal of every team, but the Jets have made it clear that this is their all-in year with the acquisitions that were made, and I feel like rolling out a top 4 that is that balanced and that flexible can really, really benefit their chances of going deep on a playoff run. Now, the third pairing is where it's going to get very, very interesting because a lot of Jets fans expect to see Logan Stanley coming in and playing on that spot with Dylan DeMello. Now, again, Dylan DeMello is also another great defenseman to have because you can make the argument that he could be a number 1 pairing defenseman. Oh, what are you talking about? There's no way. Dylan DeMello is without a doubt one of the top 5 best defensive defenseman in the NHL, and that is extremely valuable to have a guy like that on a Winnipeg blue line that is notorious for struggling defensively in its history. So I think that having a guy that flexible with Dylan DeMello on that third pairing is a prime spot to bring in a younger defenseman to help mold them. Now, Logan Stanley basically played almost the entire season for the Winnipeg Jets last year, and although he's big and did show a little bit of improvement in the playoffs, for the majority of the season, he was nothing but mediocre. Now, that's not a knock on his play, because you don't have to be some standout, amazing defenseman when you come in as a rookie and play 10 minutes a game. No one really expects you to be an all-star, but nonetheless, I don't think that Logan Stanley is the future of this defensive core. I've made that very, very clear in all my videos, and it's not a knock on him. The Winnipeg Jets right now are in a really interesting predicament, because 2 years ago, for all last 2 years, all fans have been screaming at Cheveldayoff for an improved blue line, and we finally get that improved blue line right when the prospect pool of NHL-ready defensemen are lined up to come in with Samberg, Heinola, and the list goes on really, because Declan Chisholm is just around the corner, I believe, too. After this full season, he'll be playing with the Moose. So, jumping back over to the third pairing, I think rolling with Dylan DeMello and Ville Heinola is the best bet for this team trying to win right now. Logan Stanley is a great extra, in my opinion. You can have Logan Stanley come in for any game that you want size and plug him in anywhere, and that's a very valuable skill to have. And honestly, I would not hate the idea of Ville Heinola and Logan Stanley splitting time on that third pairing. I think it would be very good for both of their development, and Ville Heinola at this point in his career has to crack the Jets. I don't care what anybody says. Ville Heinola has thrived in every single level of professional hockey for the last 2 seasons and deserves a look at the NHL. You don't need to be a prospect guru, you don't need to be a hockey god or an analytic genius to know that Ville Heinola is a big part of this team's future moving forward. He's not a Sami Niku, he's not some guy that is just out of nowhere performed at being a late round pick. Ville Heinola was a highly touted future of this team. He was the first round pick that we used in the returning from the Jacob Trouba trade. He is without a doubt the future of this defense. I don't think any Jets fan would really take that away. So I think Ville Heinola jumping into this lineup is crucial for his development this season, and he can't just ride the pine for the whole year and play 12 games. If you're going to have them be with the Jets and not with the Moose in the press box, you have to have them split every 3 to 4 games, I think, which would be very good for their development. And even then, I think splitting of games that far in between might not be the best, but I still would rather see Ville Heinola play 30 games back and forth with Logan Stanley than have him play 12 and miss 20 games with the Moose and split a season being back and forth on the press box. Now, that's just my opinion, but I think that is going to be a very valuable third pairing to have. Ville Heinola and Dylan DeMello would be deadly, in my opinion, and not to mention the fact that, as you guys can see over there, Nathan Beaulieu is healthy and expected to return to the Winnipeg Jets this year. He is on only a one-way deal. We can't bury him. That's unless we really bury him like we did with Mark Stewart, and that's the only option. But I don't see the Jets doing that. He's very well liked. He's only got one more year left on his salary, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I know I've ripped Nathan Beaulieu in the past, but I like Nathan Beaulieu as a third pairing defenseman or an extra. I actually think he's great as a 7 or even a 6, honestly. But having him be your 3 or your 2, that was a huge issue for the Jets last year in a role that he immensely suffered with his playing style. And I think having him be an extra or a guy that plays on that third pairing from time to time as well with the rookies or plugging in for DeMello or whatever you might want to do is the future of how this team can win right now. The defense, in my opinion, looking at every single one of these guys on the screen right now is solid. I really wouldn't have it any other way. And if Logan Stanley plays over Ville Heinola, I'll only be angry because of Ville Heinola's development. If Ville Heinola doesn't play this year and Logan Stanley does, and Logan Stanley actually improves, then I'm not complaining. But I think it's crucial for Ville's future with the Jets that we need to get him into some games and a good amount of them this season. And that's really what it comes down to, is that any one of these guys can be really plugged anywhere in the top 6, in my opinion. But the extras are where it gets interesting. The third pairing and who comes in as the rookie is the only what-if scenario right now for the Winnipeg Jets and their blue line. And that's going to basically wrap up my predictions for the Winnipeg Jets defensive core moving into the 2021-2022 season. So make sure you let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below about what you think of my lineup predictions and what your guys' predictions are, as well as what players you expect to see. If you expect to see Ville Heinola, any of your thoughts related to the Winnipeg Jets and this coming up season, please go ahead down and comment now in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to drop a subscription and a like, regardless of the team that you root for. With all that being said, peace, love, and positivity to all you beautiful people out in the world. I will see you guys very soon with some more Jets content, and with all of that being said, as usual, go Jets go!